Hey everybody, welcome to another WarThunder pilot video. This is Worcestershire, and today we're taking a look at the Yak 9T. The Yak 9T is a rank 3 Soviet fighter with a battle rating of 3.7 in arcade. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a recent arcade battle. I'll talk about this plane's strengths and weaknesses, and hopefully give you a better sense of how to effectively fly it. This plane is so much fun to fly. It's one of my favorite planes in the game, partly because it's a really good turn fighter, and also because it has that devastating 37mm cannon in the nose. It also has a nose-mounted 12.7mm machine gun that does a decent amount of damage as well. The Yak 9T performs best at mid to lower altitudes, but I started off this match climbing up to about 17,000 feet to see if I could find any heavy bombers to take out. I'm heading for this B-18 when I notice this enemy P-51 climbing underneath me. There's only 30 rounds of ammo for that 37mm cannon, so I try to just fire off 2 or 3 rounds at a time so I don't burn through it too fast. As you can see, that 37mm has a surprisingly high rate of fire considering its caliber. You might find it difficult to hit anything with that 37mm at first, because there is a little bit of recoil and it's fairly inaccurate. But just be patient, stick with it, and eventually you'll get the feel for it. I noticed there's a BV-138 below me, so I decided to dive down and take a shot at it. I managed to set him on fire, but I want to make sure I finish him off, so I loop around and take another shot. I'm going into a gradual climb to get some altitude back, and I notice this HE-112B behind me taking shots. And I decided to just use my speed to extend away from him, because I know I probably won't be able to beat him in a turn fight. And I just nose down here for a little bit to keep my speed up and make sure he can't catch me. As I'm climbing, I turn around and notice this Ju-88 that's diving in for a bombing run. Yeah, that's what makes this plane so much fun. And now I just go back into a gradual climb to try to get some altitude back, and I'll speed up the footage here to get to the next engagement. I want to take out this enemy ME-410 that's going after my teammate, but I need to be careful because I noticed this P-400 that's closing on me. As I dive down for the ME-410, he turns around, and so I turn around to face the P-400 just so he doesn't end up on my 6. I nose down briefly to gain some speed, and then turn up towards him, dodging his attacks, and loop around to engage in a turn fight. Then I extend my flaps briefly just so I can tighten my turn and line up a shot. At mid to low altitudes, the Yak-9T can outperform most other planes in turn-fight situations, except for maybe the Japanese. And utilizing your flaps is a critical part of that. Just make sure you don't keep your flaps extended for too long, as it will slow you down quite a bit. I notice now that the enemy has 4 heavy bombers up, and so I go into a climb to see if I can take a few of them out. And I'll just speed up the footage here for a little bit. I zoom in on the Yak 4 to see if I can land a couple of cannon rounds on him. I finally land a couple shots, take him out, and I keep going to try to intercept these B-34s. The B-34 to my left changes course towards me, so I turn to face him. My cannon is still reloading, so I fire a few rounds with the machine gun. I turn to avoid the oncoming friendly Beaufighter and go into a high yo-yo so that I can give myself a bigger profile to shoot at. I turn back to go after that other B-34, but it looks like he's pretty far away and there's a friendly going after him. So I turn back towards the battlefield to see if I can get this PBY. And I'll speed up the footage here again briefly. The PBY turns in front of me, giving me a nice broad profile to shoot at. And now I'm headed for this SB-2M. And just checking around me to make sure there aren't any enemy fighters lining up a shot on me. I see an enemy A-20G, so I do a downward half loop to gain some speed so I can intercept him as quickly as possible. He pitches up right in front of me, which makes it a lot easier for me to take him down. As far as downsides for the Yak-9T, there really aren't that many. The only ones I can think of is it's not very fast, and at higher altitudes, it's a bit less maneuverable. Also, it takes quite a bit of practice to get really accurate with that 37mm cannon. I dive down here to intercept this P-38 that's flying right underneath me. And you can see I'm having a little bit of trouble landing a hit, but eventually I do take him out. Another thing I really like about the Yak-9T is it has a really strong rudder. That rudder really improves the maneuverability overall and allows for wing overs, hammerheads, and other maneuvers which utilize rudder kick. I noticed there are quite a few enemy fighters right over here at lower altitude near their airfield, so I just move in closer to see if I can pick off one or two of them. I see this B-239 climbing for me, so I just pitch up to force him to continue climbing, losing speed. Then I turn and dive down for an attack, while he's going too slow to really line up a shot on me. Then I used my speed to extend away because there's quite a few enemies down there and I'm pretty close to their airfield and their spawn. Then I noticed this Corsair at high altitude, so I decided to go after him. I see now that he's being chased by a friendly Spitfire, coming straight for me. Boom! That is so satisfying. Now I see this SBU that just spawned in, so I climb and turn to go after it. Again, just checking around me to make sure there aren't any fighters coming after me. As I'm lining up a shot, he turns into me, making it a little bit harder for me. So I turn around to pursue, and I see he makes the mistake of trying to turn fight me. And that's about it for this match. I really think the Yak 9T is one of the best fighters at 3.7. You should definitely have it in your lineups, especially at 3.3, 3.7, even up to 4.3. It's such a fun plane to fly, and it's so satisfying blowing planes apart with that 37 mil. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a like. Tell me what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Take it easy, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.